So today we will be discussing next topic, which is on Boolean algebra. Till now we have been doing these. Who is trying to join? I don't know. Okay. So till now we have discussed very simple, ideas of digital electronics, where we studied the basic gates and how we can design basic gates from various. Uh, who is doing all this? Ugh. Okay, is the screen available now? Is it visible clearly? My PowerPoint presentation? Okay, fine. So now this Boolean algebra basically helps us in understanding and designing more complex digital expressions. And we will be seeing in this unit how Boolean algebra is helpful in doing that. So this algebra was developed in 19th century by English mathematician George Boole, who actually developed the rules for manipulation of binary variables. What do we mean by binary variables? The variables for which outcome is, binary variables are, the variables for which there are only two possible values. In this case, what is the variable is like voltage, it may be low or high in our digital circuits. So Boolean algebra is good in the cases where there are only two possibilities for outcome of any particular variable. So this Boolean algebra is the basis for all the digital systems, like the computers we are using, calculators, etc., and even all your smartphones, all the devices that uses now the digital electronics or digital technology somewhere have employed Boolean algebra. Why and how, that is going to be clear shortly. So now again, in Boolean algebra, the binary variables are represented with the help of certain symbols like A, B, C, X, Y. I mean, for example, you may represent inputs with say A, B, C, and output with Y, or so on. So in Boolean algebra, a letter actually is representing a binary variable. And the variable can have only one of the two possible values, as I already told you, either 0 or 1, or we can say low or high. Okay, now let us discuss some of the theorems which are there in Boolean algebra. And these theorems are very simple, and they can be proven with the help of simple what you can say comparison things. You can make truth table for left hand side and then truth table for right hand side, and then if the two truth tables are equal, then we can say any two binary expressions are same. So or equation is satisfied. So this is the first theorem, 1.1, which says if you have any binary variable a, then a or 0 is equal to a always. This is quite simple, straightforward result. A or 0 is a. So you can make a simple truth table and then put the values of a. If a is 0, then 0 or 0 will be 0. If a is 1, 1 or 0 is again 1. So that's what is very simple theorem. A or 0 is a always. Then there is second theorem, which is also very important, and this says that a and 1 is equal to a. So the two theorems are very interesting in a sense that we can replace or we can obtain the second theorem from first theorem if we replace AND operation. Sorry, we can get the second theorem from first theorem if we replace OR operation with AND operation and complement all zeros and ones. That's a standard rule. You should remember this rule. What I'm saying is, I repeat, we can replace in any binary theorem or in any Boolean theorem, Bundian algebra theorem, we can replace OR with AND get a new result. But for that, for getting a new result, we have to complement all zeros and ones appearing there. What is the meaning of complement? Every zero will be made 1, every 1 will be made 0. So what we did is, this OR is AND here, this 0 became 1. Variables will remain as such. You don't have to complement variables. You only have to complement standard zeros and ones appearing in the expression, Boolean expression. Okay. There is third theorem which says A or 1 is always 1. A or 1 is always 1. Doesn't matter, whatever is A, output is always going to be 1. This is also straightforward. I mean, anything when we OR it to any variable, actually when we OR it with 1, outcome is always going to be 1. Is this clear? So how can we get the corresponding AND theorem? The theorem for which we will replace this OR with AND. Yes, anybody wants to say something? Priyanka, you are trying to say something? You want to ask something? Okay, how to get corresponding AND theorem from 1.3? Screen is not visible. Then what you people are doing? This is not visible. It should be visible, I think. Is the screen not visible to everyone? Is the screen visible before we proceed further? Is the screen visible? Akriti says yes. Sonali says yes. Pallavi, what is the problem at your end? I don't know. Screen is visible. Pallavi is saying that she is not able to see screen. Is it visible now or not, Pallavi? I don't know. There must be problem at your end then. Anyway, many of you wrote it correct. I mean, what will be the corresponding theorem with AND expression? A and 0 is equal to 0 always. That's clear and straightforward. Very good. So now there is another theorem. What about A or A? This is going to be equal to 1. Whenever you OR any variable with itself, the output will be the variable itself. This is also a straightforward result. And then you should be able to get what will be the corresponding result with AND. That's the simple one again. Because here there is no 0 or 1 appearing. So will be the result for AND as well. I mean, A, simply replace OR with AND that's it. So I hope you are getting the logic, how we can get or interchange OR with and then we have to complement zeros and ones. Is this clear or is there any question on this part? I hope it should be clear, but it is also possible you may have doubts or questions. Any question, please? Yes, any question? Any response? Are you able to hear me? Are you sitting there? If there is a question, you can say yes, sir. No question, then you should say no or what? I don't know. Okay, fine. Now, if there is no question, then there is another theorem which says A or A bar should be equal to 1. This is also something interesting. If you OR a variable with its complement, output will always be 1. That is very interesting. you can make a simple truth table A, or I mean, imagine a OR gate to which you are giving A and also its complement. So if A is 0, A bar will be 1. So output will be 1. If A is 1, A bar will be 0, but then output is also going to be 1. So A or A bar is equal to 1. What will be the corresponding AND expression? AND expression will be A and A bar will be what? 0, isn't it? That will be 0. This is another straightforward theorem. Another Boolean algebra theorem is, all these theorems we are going to use in the coming unit when we will be simplifying circuits. So there we will be directly using these theorems. So that is why I how we can apply these theorems. First of all, let us first know the theorems. So there is another theorem. What is this? Is A. So far these were the theorems containing only single variable, right? When we have two variables or more than one variable, then you may have A and B or C. A and B or C is equal to A and B or A and C. This looks very simple, like opening up the bracket. But in Boolean algebra, this is also the same way. And the only thing is that the outputs are either 0 or 1, right? So what will be the corresponding now let us apply that idea. We replaced AND with OR and OR with AND, right? So what will be the result? The result is going to be this. Means A or B and C, this OR now replaced with AND, is equal to A or B. Here was AND. So this now became A or B, and this OR became AND here, A or C. That's it. I mean, that's how we can very easily get the other theorem from one. So you have to remember one half of the theorems. Other half will follow automatically from this. Now you may ask, okay, is this really valid? Now there is something really interesting here. Now this one won't be true in common algebra, isn't it? If you apply this left hand side and right hand side, in common algebra, this is going to be A square plus AB plus AC plus BC, something like this, isn't it? But in Boolean algebra, what is this is nothing but equal to A or BC. Because in Boolean algebra, there are certain things whose results are straightforward. For example, when you will do A square, that will be A and A, which is nothing but A itself, correct? Then you may find some combinations for AB, then AB. What you may ask, then what about AB? Then what about BC? Where did AB go? You may ask, where did AB go? Isn't it? I mean, here we are not getting AB. So the best way to do, you can't actually try to apply that idea of what you can call simple algebra here. That's why this is called Boolean algebra. So only way to cross check if the things are correct is to make truth table. So what you may do is you may make a truth table, right? Where you first write down expression as per left hand side. So you write down 3A, B, C, then take various possibilities for A, B and C. Put say A equal to 0, B equal to 0, C is equal to 0. Then say what is the left hand side, what is A or B and C. Then you have to try all the 9 input possibilities. It can be 0, 0, 0, all ABC. Then this may be 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, and so on. Total 9 options. Is it 9? No, it's not 9. In case of 3, there will be total 8 options, right? So all those 8 options, you have a truth table for left hand side. Then you may get a truth table for right hand side. Again, ABC, all 8 options. And then what will right hand side give you? The two truth table will come out to be exactly same, which will prove a particular theorem. That's how you can prove a particular Boolean algebra theorem, not the standard algebra way, because this is a Boolean algebra. So you should be cautious and clear here. while learning and understanding Boolean algebra theorems. Divyanshi, there is some trouble with your expression, I think, right? In the bracket, it should be or. What you're saying? Oh, I mean, fine, yeah. Well, so there is another theorem which says A or AB. Now you will ask that previous theorem. Here we were saying, okay, AB was missing. We were taking product AB, then we saw, oh, on left hand side there is no AB. A square is equal to 1, that is fine. A square is equal to A is fine. But AB was missing. So why AB was missing? Actually, A or AB is A itself. Now you can again try to prove it yourself. So you can take A or AB. So that is always going to be A. Because if A is 0, then here it is 0 again. A and B is 0. So this output will be A. When A is 1, then 1 or 1 into B. So 1 or anything will be 1 itself. So B is immaterial here. B is irrelevant here. So this expression is equal to nothing but A. So if you use these expressions, then the things in Boolean algebra becomes really simple. Another theorem, same theorem, actually now we changed OR with and with OR. What will be the resultant? A and A or B will also be equal to A. Okay? There's another theorem, A or A complement and B. A or A complement and B. That will be equal to A or B. That will be equal to A or B. What is the significance of these theorems is that, okay, I mean, rather than keeping unnecessary elements, so if you have to design an expression like this, so if you see this left hand side, how many gates you require to implement this expression? If you want to implement this expression in hardware, you will require one OR gate, one NOT gate for A, doing NOT of A, and one AND gate. You require 3 gates, one OR gate, one NOT gate, and one AND gate. Well, then if we apply this expression, we can see on right hand side that only single OR gate is sufficient to get the same truth table. So why do this complicated way? Right? So that is what is the significance of Boolean algebra. Means you can simplify your circuits. And it is very helpful in designing the circuits. That's why I said all the digital devices which you are using somewhere have used Boolean algebra in one or the other way. We'll be coming to that. So what will be the corresponding another theorem for this? We have to replace now OR with and with OR. That's it. So here again OR with and. So this gets you the another theorem. Another one, A and B or A and B complement. A and B or A and B complement. This actually is equal to A. You can cross check again with the help of truth table yourself. I leave it to you. What will be the corresponding theorem with the AND replaced by OR? That's going to be A or B and A or B complement. This is also equal to A. I hope you are getting the things. Now again, there are something like 22 theorems. So that is why I thought in a slow pace at once, so that we could see each and every theorem coming up and then try to see what this theorem says. A and B or A complement C is equal to A or C and A complement or B. Are you okay with this? I mean, what is this saying? A, B or A bar C is equal to A or C and A bar or B. Again, I mean, there is no as such direct way of proving it. Best way is to get truth table of both sides and see if things are okay. What will be the corresponding theorem with the or expression replacing and expression? So this will be complement or C is equal to A and C or A complement and B. So that's another theorem. Okay, there is another theorem which is there in Boolean algebra, which is saying that A and B or A complement and C or BC, I mean B and C equals AB or A complement C. Okay, you can get these theorems by even using previous earlier theorems. So you have to try all those hits and runs, and I mean trial and hits, sorry, and then you can get the answer. We will be doing some practices in the coming lectures, so I'm not as such showing application of each theorem. We shall be coming to this in the coming slides and obviously in coming lectures as well. Then is 20th theorem, which says that A or B and A complement or C and B or C equals A or B and A complement or C. Now again you can verify this. For the time being, I am directly showing it up. We'll be doing this soon, some of their applications. Now these are last two theorems of Boolean algebra, which are very important. So the first theorem says that if you take A and B and C and so on, you have many variables. Suppose you take complement of this left hand side, means A and B and C whole complement, then this actually is equal to A complement or B complement or C complement or so on. And this is the theorem which is very important. I mean, we can design any circuit with the help of AND gate and a NOT gate, or we can do the same thing with using say NOT gate and OR gate, not at all using AND gate. So that's up to us how we want to use. And another theorem says, again it follows from this one, if you replace each AND with OR, we can get the result like this on left hand side, and what will be right hand side? A bar and B bar and C bar. Okay, so these two last theorems, I mean 1.21 and 1.22, are called De Morgan's theorem. So you should remember, these are very important theorems, De Morgan's theorem. So we shall be using them in the coming slides. So these are called De Morgan's theorem. So I hope you have written down these Boolean algebra theorems in your notebook. Now let us try to see some quick applications. In previous class, we have studied exclusive OR gate, and these were different implementations. Now there I directly wrote you the expression. Now we will employ those Boolean algebra theorems to prove that the output is indeed A B bar and A bar B. That is okay. From here it is straightforward. I mean, you take A here, this is B here and B bar, so this is A B bar. Here you are taking A bar, here B directly, so this is A bar and B, both are now fed to OR gate. So output is A B bar and A bar B. I mean, sorry, A and B bar or A bar and B. So that's the expression for exclusive OR gate. Then there was another implementation. Now the question is, how is this implementation equivalent to this one? Now here is where we will be using those Boolean algebra theorems. What is this gate saying you? This is nothing but a NOT gate. This is a NOR gate. When both the inputs of a NOR gate are short and fed to a single input, then that becomes a NOT gate. This is nothing but NOT, right? So this is A NOT And what is this going to give you here? B naught. And what is this is? The output of this gate or gate. Let us not go to the not as such. So this is actually A naught or B naught. The output here just before this not gate will be A naught or B naught. Now A naught or B naught whole naught, isn't it? A naught or B naught whole naught. I hope you are getting this and following it up on your notebook. So this is going to give you A naught or B naught whole naught. Then apply, here is whole naught. Now you apply this De Morgan's theorems here. So what will De Morgan's theorems tell you? What should this be here? This here should be, this is A naught or B naught whole naught. What will that be? That will be equal to A naught and B naught. I hope you are okay with this. What should be output here? A naught and B naught. Is this okay? Are you able to follow what I am doing here? Are you able to get that expression in your notebook? So we are correct so far. So what will be output here is A naught and B naught. Fine. What is this going to give you? A fed directly to a NOR gate, B also fed to a NOR gate. So what will be output here? Output here will be A or B whole naught. Output here will be A or B whole naught. Again, if you apply De Morgan's theorem, what will that give you? A or B whole naught is equal to A naught and B naught, isn't it? This will be A naught and B naught. What was the output here? Now, if you feed in those inputs to this NAND gate, what will be the output? Again, you have to apply De Morgan's theorem, and then you should be in a position to get AB bar and A bar B. Are you able to get this expression? Now, since you are sitting with your notebooks, try it and let me know if you can get the final expression of this circuit same as this expression. Yes, please try it. Waiting for your response. Yes, are you able to get this? No response. Are you trying or not? Am I audible there? You are trying? Sonali. Sonali, you were late today. Why? You joined very late. Make sure you don't do that next time. Anyway, is anyone able to get this expression? the final outcome of this circuit should be AB bar or A bar B. I mean, somewhere you may have to use other theorems other than De Morgan's theorem. But yes, you will be in a position to get it done. Okay, I leave it to you for now, and I will upload it as an assignment. You all get it done and then prove that output of this circuit will be nothing but same as the output of this circuit. There is another implementation of exclusive OR gate with the help of these NAND gates only. Again, I leave it as a homework to you. Note the circuit properly. I leave it as a homework for you. You have to prove that output of this circuit made up of NAND gates shall be nothing but the Boolean expression for exclusive OR gate. So you have to apply the theorems of Boolean algebra and prove this. Noted this? Did you note this? Are you okay? Should we move forward? Okay. You all also sign your attendance. Let us note it also in the record. Then was gate. I hope you remember in last class we did exclusive NOR gate. What should be the expression for this gate? Now here is again, you can see this was A bar and B bar, correct? This is quite straightforward. Was there some other implementation of exclusive NOR gate? No. Okay, let's leave this then. I mean, we don't need to do this part. So exclusive OR gate, these are the two assignments you have to do for next class. I mean, by tomorrow, I think, if we have a class tomorrow, or I will, okay, upload the assignment, there you have to put it. Fine, next is some applications of Boolean algebra. The Boolean algebra which we have discussed just now, what are the applications of this? So basically, it is applied for design of digital circuits, and our digital circuits are actually divided into two broad categories. One type of circuits are called combinational circuits, and other type of circuits are called sequential circuits. Now the question comes, okay, what are combinational circuits and what are sequential circuits? So the combinational circuits are those circuits for which present at that particular instant of time. Means there is no memory element. For example, suppose you have a AND gate. So the output of AND gate at a particular instant of time will depend upon what are the corresponding values of input at that particular time. You change the input, the output will change immediately, not instantaneously, but it will take some finite time, but that time usually is very small. Means the case when output is depending only on instantaneous values of inputs. Those type of circuits are called combinational circuits. All over these basic gates which we have studied till now, or the circuits we have seen so far, or you probably would have studied so far, are combinational circuits. So there is no memory element. I mean, the present output of the circuit has nothing to do with what was the past values of input. That is another way of looking at it. Means in combinational circuits, the present value of output has nothing to do with what was the past values of inputs. Means they have no memory element. So what is the meaning of memory element? Means there are although certain kind of circuits in which the output at particular instant of time depends on the present inputs as well as what were the past inputs or outputs. This type of circuits are these type of circuit elements. or those type of circuits have some storage component, because the information of past values of inputs is also being stored. For example, your mobile phone, right? You record some audios in your mobile phone. I am speaking, and my audio is being fed to some digital circuit, and that audio is being transferred to you. So if it is limited only up to transferring the audio up to you, we can say this can be done with the help of combinational circuits. But if we have to record this video and then later on you have to access this video, then what is required? You require to store these values somewhere in some circuits. And then when you play it back, then on your screen, you will be seeing things exactly the same way, isn't it? So means that the value of outputs in a particular circuit will depend upon the present values of inputs, because whenever you will be wanting to watch the video later on, you have to open up the software, means you are giving some inputs to your device to open up the data, right? But it also depends upon what was the past values of the outputs or inputs. Means whatever I have spoken now shall also be coming on your screen later on. So that is what is the meaning of memory. So we will be talking about memory later on in details. But okay, I mean, for now, what is the difference between combinational and sequential circuits? So the combinational circuits are called those circuits for which the output just depends upon the present value or the corresponding value of the input at that particular time. Whereas in other case, the output may also depend upon the past values of the inputs. So those kind of circuits are called sequential circuits. I hope this is clear, or is there any question from this part? Please ask. If there is any question from this part, please do ask your question. No question? Well, if no question, then let's move to the next. So the design of combinational circuits will be discussed in this chapter. So in this chapter or in this unit, we will be talking about combinational circuits. We won't be bothering about memory element as such, but then in later units, we will be talking about memory elements as well, the sequential circuits also. So the design requirements for combinational circuits may be specified in one of the following ways. I mean, suppose somebody asks you that you have to design a circuit. Then how will they ask you? So they may ask you with the help of a set of statements. They may say, okay, if this is the input, or this is the combination of inputs, that should be the output of your circuit. That's one way. I mean, the requirements are specified in the form of set of statements. It may also be specified in the form of a Boolean expression. That is also nothing but tells you the relation between inputs and outputs, correct? So that's another way of doing. And last way is maybe somebody gives you the truth table and asks you to design the corresponding circuit. So these are different ways of the requirements, how somebody can give you the requirement for design of the circuit. Then based upon those requirements, you have to plan your circuit. So the aim to design a circuit using the gates, which we have already discussed. So okay, in this unit, basic objective is that how we can design any circuit or how we can implement any truth table or any requirements just by employing those basic gates. So that is what is the idea. And at the same time, our target will be that the number of components in the circuit should remain minimum. We don't want unnecessary gates to be there in our circuit. That's why those theorems of Boolean algebra will be helpful. Sometimes we may have to get rid of certain unnecessary number of gates. So there we employ the possibilities of Boolean algebra and try to reduce the expression if possible. So why number of elements or number of components should be reduced? One thing is that will result in low cost. Suppose one circuit implements some truth table with the help of 100 gates, but there is another circuit which uses only 40 gates to implement the same truth table. And why should somebody go with the circuit which is using 100 gates? Because that is just wastage of his the money, and not only money but also wastage of the space as well. So fewer are the number of elements in the circuit or number of components in the circuit, lesser will be the space, and that is how the compaction of modern devices is going on, because there are more efficient circuits and more smaller size components. So there are both things hand in hand. But yes, getting efficient circuits is also an important aspect. It doesn't only save the space but also the power requirement. So more are the number of components in your circuit, every component will require some power supply, and hence will be consuming some power. It may be even very small, but yes, non-zero. So any circuit which uses more number of components shall be more energy consuming, and more energy consuming is a circuit, more will be the circuit, I mean more will your circuit consume the battery. For example, your mobile phone. So you may find some old mobile phones would be consuming battery very fast. You may have a mobile phone with something like 6000 mAh or 8000 mAh battery, but still that battery doesn't last long. Whereas you may have a smartphone which is having something like say 3000 mAh battery, but that battery lasts for a long time. So why? Maybe the later one has a better designed circuits in the ICs, or better designed ICs, so that they have lesser power consumption. Power consumption has many other things as well, but of course reducing the number of components is also another aspect of it. So these are the key requirements or key preferences in our mind, that okay, these are the things we have to keep in mind when we are going to design a circuit. Okay, so basically there are few methods which can be applied to simplify Boolean functions. Now again, why simplify Boolean functions? So as to get a circuit with lowest number of components. So one method is algebraic method. I mean, we try to solve some Boolean expression by using Boolean algebraic theorems and then try to arrive at the result. But this requires what you can call the humanitarian expertise. Somebody may be efficient in this, somebody may not be. Somebody may do it very well, somebody may not. So to actually get rid of this is another very interesting technique called K-map technique or Karnaugh map technique. So this Karnaugh map technique is something which everybody can learn, and it's not that difficult, and it has a very standard procedure, and everybody will arrive at the same result if they follow the procedure correctly. Algebraic method may have person-to-person dependent path. One may arrive at some results, other may arrive at other results. Then there is another method which is called Quinn-Mikkels-K method that we also discuss in brief. But main topic of our this unit will be algebraic and K-map methods. There is another method which somebody may also employ, variable entered mapping, VEM technique. This we won't be talking in much details, but okay, in coming slide or in coming lectures, we may talk briefly about what is this method. Now let us discuss standard representation of logic functions. Now, what is the logic functions? I mean, any Boolean expression is a logical function. Why logic function? Because output of that function will be either 0 or 1. Who is this Priyanka and what the hell is she doing? Why are you sending me messages right now here on WhatsApp? I mean, whenever I'm on class, you shouldn't call me or message me. This distracts. Okay. Okay. Sorry. So any Boolean expression can be written in two standard forms. One form is called sum of products form, which you also call SOP. Other form is product of sum form. Now, it's not that only sum of product or product of sum are the standard forms. I mean, only the possible options. There can be any other complex option as well, but these are most popular and simplest. Why they are popular and simplest will be clear shortly. First, let us try to understand what is sum of product and what is product of sum form. And okay, I mean, if each term in sum of product or product of sum form contain all literals, then these are known as canonical SOP and POS. Now you will ask, okay, what is literal, what is SOP, what is POS? This is going to be clear just shortly now. What is literal actually is a variable in complement or uncomplemented form is known as literal. I mean, what are the input options? There are so what is a logical function? It is some Boolean expression having certain variables, right? A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever. So each term, each what you can call variable, either in complemented form or uncomplemented form, is known as literal. Literal, okay? Okay, I mean, this is going to be clear shortly. And so what is it saying is that if in SOP or POS form, each term contains all literals, means, okay, let us do the example, then it will be more clear. So there is this expression, suppose y equals a or b and c and b or c complement and a. So this is not either SOP or POS form. This is some arbitrary form of any Boolean expression. Now you can apply theorems of Boolean algebra, and we will be doing this in coming lectures, and then finally arrive at this sum of product form of this expression. So basically this expression can be simplified to arrive at this result, and this is known as sum of products, SOP. Now I think you all should be comfortable in understanding what is sum of product. These are products AB, AC complement, BC. So these are products, and this right hand side is representing sum of products. That is why it is called SOP form, sum of products form. How this has been arrived? Here we have applied the theorems of Boolean algebra. So some expansion has been done here, then further simplification, blah, blah, blah. I leave it to you. But okay, this is called sum of product form. So what are the literals here on right hand side? This is the final sum of product form. AB or AC complement or BC. So what are the literals? In first term, A and B, these are the literals. Second term, A and C complement. So in this there are two literals. In this there are also two literals. Here also two literals, B and C. But interesting thing is, what are total input? A, B and C. So as such there are three inputs, three literals. Now, I mean, here, if you see this sum of product form, so here, I mean, to arrive at this, we have used theorem 1.9, and then further simplification you can see. Okay, so here, what you see on right hand side, okay, then there is a question called what is min term and what is max term. So each individual term in canonical SOP form, then question is canonical. Canonical means if on right hand side, or if in SOP or POS form, each term, so these are called terms. I hope you are aware of algebra. AB is one term, AC complement is another term, BC is another term. So if in each term of SOP or POS forms, all the literals are present, then we will call that this is canonical SOP or canonical POS. So is this canonical SOP or canonical POS in present context? Are you getting my question? Is this SOP in canonical form? That does each term contain all the literals? Yes or no? Are you getting or not? I don't know if you are getting my words or not. Is this in canonical form or not? Yes, 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 yes. No, wrong. This is not in canonical form. Why? Because here we have only two literals, A and B. C is missing. So what is the definition of canonical form? If each term in SOP, let us refer to SOP only. If each term in SOP forms contains all the literals, then these are known as canonical forms. So actually, if there would have been C here in either simple form or in its complement form, each term should have three their complement form or non-complement form. Then that form is called canonical SOP or POS. So this form is not canonical SOP. How to arrive at canonical SOP is okay. We will be doing later on, but this is not. Is this clear or not? Could you understand what I am saying? Why this is not canonical form? Is there any question on this part? No. Well, so okay, first we will need to learn how to get the canonical form. This will require additional time, so I leave it as such here. But yes, then if the expression, okay, first let us try to see the same expression in product of sum. This expression can also be expressed as product of sum. How product of sum? You apply theorem 1.10 and then apply theorem 1.16. Now here you can see there is one sum, this is another sum, this is another sum. The right hand side is product of the sums. That is how this form is called product of sums. So this is the same expression. This one tells you sum of product form of the same expression. This one tells you the product of sum form of the same expression. So you can write down any Boolean expression or any Boolean function either in product of sum form or sum of products form. We will be doing more practices on doing so that things will be more clear to you later on. So now here again, is this POS or product of sum, is this product of sum in canonical form? Again, no, because you have A or B here but not C, or complement of C. Here you have A and C but B is totally gone. Here you have B and C but A is totally gone. So this is also not a canonical form. But if you have the canonical form of SOP or POS, then each term in that canonical form is known as min term for SOP. So each term in SOP canonical form is called min term, and each term in canonical POS form is called max term. So you should be now in a position to define what is min term and what is max term. How to arrive at min term and max term is going to be clear soon. I mean, we will be following same example and then obtain canonical form. But for today, not today, because it requires time. So what can be the logical circuit to realize this expression? You can see, first we need to get y1. Let us say this is y1. So y1 is nothing but A or B and C. So you need a AND gate, one OR gate. Then y2, B or C and A, C complement and A. So that's what it is. So A complement A, C complement into A, both AND. Then B fed directly. This is y2. So if you feed in y1 and y2 AND gate to a AND gate, this will be the final output. This is it. So effectively, how many gates are being used? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gates plus one NOT gate as well. Now we will see that is there a way to actually reduce these number of gates and design the same circuit with lesser number of gates. So that is what we will be discussing in the coming classes. So well, that's all for today. If there is any question you may ask, or any doubt you may ask. Is there any query or question or confusion? I can students. Your roll numbers here again in the chat box. Am I audible there? Sign your roll numbers. Sign your attendance here. Well, very good. Do it quick. And make sure you type only your roll number. No proxy would work here because everything is being recorded. Yes, quickly, all sign it. Everybody done? Anika, yes. Everybody's done or somebody left? Well, so, okay. That's all for today. See you in the next class.